meditation and human design. Let's talk about it. This is important because so many of us are just trying to learn and understand this system from the level of the mind, and we forget that this is an energetic system, right? And it's really centered on the body. So when we start to integrate and embody it at the level of body, that's when things really start to shift. Hi, my name is Ebony. If you are new here, I am an empowerment coach, and on this channel, we learn about human design and gene keys to reclaim our power, prioritize our pleasure, and create the freedom that we desire. So if you like this content, I have a whole entire mindfulness library that is full of human design-based meditations, and the link for that is in my description box. So let's dive right in. Why? Why does this matter? Why use mindfulness? Why use meditation to integrate and embody your human design? The simplest reason that I could come up with is because we can understand something mentally and still not be able to integrate it. I see this a lot with my clients. Like, they have the information, right? They have the knowledge. They know their energy type. They know their centers. They know what it all means. They know their profile and all these things. And they're like, I still can't quite get it. I still find myself living out of alignment. I still find myself not following my strategy, not following my authority, falling into the non-self of my undefined centers. Why? Like, why is this happening? And it's because you're trying to integrate something at the mind level and you're not bringing it to the body, right? Also, getting caught in our heads can keep us from the wisdom of our bodies, right? Because if we're in our head, we're not in our bodies. And if we're in our head, a lot of the times we're also not grounded in the present moment. We're usually projecting ourselves into the future or stressing out about the past, which we can't change anymore, right? So if we really want to be able to understand this at a visceral level, to integrate this, to embody it, to really live it, we have to bring it down into the body, into the nervous system. So number one is awareness, right? Human design is a tool for awareness, but meditation is also a tool for awareness. A lot of people, and this could just be my personal opinion, but this is what has worked for me, and I've maintained a consistent meditation practice for years now at this point. The goal of meditation is not to quiet your mind. I hear this from so many people. They're like, I can't meditate because I can't quiet my mind. I can't get my mind to turn off. I can't do it. That's not actually the goal. The goal of meditation is to become the listener. It's to become the observer. It's not to silence or stop anything. It's simply to listen, to be present, to observe your mind. Now, the silencing and the quieting of your mind, which is what a lot of people, talk about when you talk about meditation, that is a byproduct. It is something that may or may not happen over time as you start to practice this, as it becomes, a habit, right? A ritual. That is a byproduct, absolutely. But it is not the goal. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, and he was like, oh, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing. Because when you go into meditation with the goal of quieting your mind, you may end up getting frustrated because it's not happening, right? When you go into meditation with that as the goal, it might get frustrating. You might feel like you can't do it because the goal that you set for yourself isn't happening. But when you make the goal to listen, when you make the goal to observe, then the byproducts happen on their own. You become the listener, you become the observer, and that is the goal. So you're doing what you're quote unquote supposed to be doing. So there's less frustration. There's less, oh, I can't do this, because you are doing it. You're doing what you set out to do. And then you get the natural byproducts of consistently setting that goal for yourself. Okay, so that is the goal of meditation in my mind, or in my practice, right? So why is this important? Why is awareness important? Why do we use human design? Why do we use meditation for these things? And it's because when you have awareness, you give yourself the power of choice. When you are unaware, when you are going through life unconscious, when you are going through life not really paying attention to what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're acting, what you're thinking, what you're believing, you disempower yourself. You take away your right to choose how you will show up and respond to a situation, to any situation. But when you bring awareness through meditation, through human design, through gene keys. When you become aware, you then get to choose how you desire to show up and respond to the situation. You're not running on autopilot anymore. And now you can consciously step into, who am I deciding to be and how am I deciding to act and respond? And that is when you reclaim your power. It's through the awareness. And meditation and human design do that for us. And when you put them together, it's just, it's amazing. So that's just it to me. Number two, the reason why I think, human design and mindfulness are just amazing together is inner child healing. I have a whole video on inner child work, and I will link that just in case you haven't seen it. But the inner child, and specifically the unmet needs of our inner children, is the root of all of our destructive behaviors. I truly believe this. Any destructive behavior that we have or that we exhibit stems from some kind of unmet need that we had in childhood, that we are still, to this day, trying to get met through these destructive behaviors. And the reason why these destructive behaviors are so hard to break is because the inner child is actually older than our evolved adult self. That inner child who had to play the victim in order to receive love and connection from their parents is older than the version of you who understands logically as an adult that that's not a sustainable way to get love and connection. But because that part of you, because that inner child, that unmet need has been online and operating for so long, it is much more deeply ingrained in you than your logical thinking of, I can just ask for what I need. I can ask for the love and the connection that I desire, right? So meditation, specifically meditation that is based on your human design, can help you to learn how to internally resource so you can give your parts, your inner children, what they need, which in turn will alleviate the destructive patterns and behaviors that you may have as a result of the unmet needs in your childhood. This is the primary way that I work through inner child healing with my clients. It's through meditation and this very deep embodiment work with human design and meditation, and also gene keys. Again, if you are interested in using meditation to embody your human design, then check out my Mindfulness Library. I will be adding new meditations to the library monthly. So that way there's always something new for you to utilize. And this month, I'm actually going to be adding in authority meditations and contemplation sessions for the Genius sequence, which is gene keys. So if you're interested in that, click the link in my description box. And finally, embodiment. Now, the definition of embodiment is the representation or expression of something in a tangible or visible form. Embodiment happens in the body. You cannot embody something at the level of the mind. That is not embodiment. That is understanding, that is comprehension, right? But it's not embodiment. Those are two different things. Embodiment happens at the physical and the energetic level. This is where you transform. This is where you integrate your wisdom. And this is where you are able to quantum leap. Meditation allows us to observe. It allows us to become the listener, the watcher, the observer. That brings us into our body. It brings us into a state of presence, where then we can integrate the things that we have learned mentally in our heads. For all the reasons I've already mentioned, awareness. Because when you're watching your mind, when you're watching the thoughts, you're not consumed by them. And when you are not consumed by them, you are then able to come into your body. You're able to truly understand and integrate the things that you already know on a mental level. Right? So like consciously in my head, I can know I have an undefined heart center, right? I sometimes feel like I have to prove my worth. I sometimes feel like I have to push myself super hard and make all of these promises so that people will like me, so that they will find me worthy and valuable. In my head, logically, I know that is a pattern that I fall into. But when I am embodied, when I am in my body, when I am watching my mind, I can actually see not only the thoughts that come as a result of my undefined heart center, but also the feelings in my body that those thoughts are creating. And when I know the feeling, the visceral sensation that's being created by those thoughts, I can heal that on an energetic and physical level because I know where it is now, right? I know what it feels like. So when I go out into the world and I am presented with a situation that brings up that same feeling in my body, I know, okay, wait, something in this situation is triggering me into the non-self of my undefined heart center. And I know this because when I was in meditation and I was focusing on that area, I was focusing on that feeling, this is exactly where I felt it, or this is exactly how I felt it. And that is awareness. And awareness gives us the power to choose. So in that situation, I can then choose to show up in an aligned way. I can choose to say, no, I don't need to prove myself. I don't need to push myself and run myself into the ground in order to prove my value or prove my worth. How can I instead allow my value and my worth to be felt by the people around me by simply existing, by knowing in my body and my brain that I am inherently worthy regardless of what I do or don't do. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. I hope this was helpful. I will go ahead and link my meditation playlist if you are interested in seeing what kind of meditations that I like to do. Again, my mindfulness library is full of human design-based meditations, and this collection will constantly be growing until I have meditations on every single aspect of human design and gene keys. So if you're interested, make sure you click the link in my description box, and I will see you in the next video.